dive.
Welcome to an episode of Dive. This time we are looking at Bushrangers Bay dive site at Bass Point. As you can see here, it's a little bit further around from the gutter. So we're looking at getting to Bushrangers Bay from the gutter that you saw on the last episode. Getting to Bushrangers parking areas from the gutter, it's located down here. Last time you travelled along the main road here to get to the gutter car parking area. Now, from where you first reach the car parking area, we'll continue on to the right. So we will then end up coming down to the Bushrangers Bay car parking area. Now, from last time, you remember when you first turned up there, you'll see this in front of you as the start of the car park for the gutter area. And instead of coming into the parking area, we'll turn to the right and we'll go down this way. Continue down that road until we reach this point here, where you can see the car park in front of you. And just off to the left, that is the walkway to go down to Bushrangers Bay or up to the lookout. Looking from the other side, you can see the rest of the parking area here, which is not very much. But on the right there you can see the entrance there to go over to your walkway to get down to the dive site or up to the lookout. So you have now travelled down the road here and you've reached the car park up here, and the dive site is down here in Bushrangers Bay. Now here is your walking track, and at this point you can go up to the lookout, or you can take the steps and go down to the bay. So we'll have a look at the lookout first, which is just up here. Now from the lookout here you can actually look down and you can see the inner bay of Bushrangers Bay and then the outer bay, and in between the two, where you can see the little outcrop of land, that is what we call the cutting. So that joins the two bays together. Now here we have the steps that go down to the bay, and as you travel down these steps you'll come across a little rest stop. Very handy for when you're coming back up again. And more stairs till you get down close to the bottom here, and you'll have a rest stop down here just after the start. And just in front of you there you have your dive entry point. So here you can see it here, the inner bay of Bushrangers Bay, and there's your path that you'll take from the bottom of the steps across to the dive entry point. Now here you can see the dive entry point, but this is a very low tide. The tide does reach up to this point up here. So where you can see the water line there at the present time there, when it's up on a high tide, that'll be about knee deep to waist deep water, depending on how tall you are. Looking back, we can see the stairs there, and that's the path you'd take across the loose rocks down to the dive entry point. So please be careful going across them, because they are moving. Well, they do move underfoot. Now looking from above here, this is your entry point into the Bushrangers Bay. So once you get in here and you start travelling out, you'll follow these lines along until you go through there to through the cutting area at the end of that line. Now where the X's are, that is the actual cutting area, and in that area at the present time, and for quite a while now, we've had a group of sharks. So when you reach this area, please be careful. Now try to stay to either one side or the other and take it slowly. Now once you go through the cutting, you should be in, depending on tide, about 8 to 10 metres of water. And then you'll see in front of you it just drops down into the outer bay. Please take note of what the depth is when you come through there, because you'll need to know that for when you're going back. Now you get down into the outer bay, almost travelling along the same path line, and you'll see a group of rocks at the bottom there. They are a little bit more to the south side of the bay, but you get to find a few nice things along there as you go. Now, to get to the outer edge of the bay is when you go past those rocks. If you're still staying to the south side a little bit, you'll see the wall to your right, and just in front of you the actual floor will start to rise. It'll come up a few metres in a gentle rise. That is about the outside line of the bay. After there it'll drop off again and go to the outside. So once you go past that point, you're going out of Bushrangers Bay. Most divers by this point will turn to the north and go over to the north side of the bay area there and start to turn around and follow the wall to head back. Now along that side there are a lot of boulders and so forth to have a look around, so you get to find a lot of interesting things. Now as you're travelling along here, sometimes you'll end up in a little blind alleyway here, and that's some people seem to think that that is the cutting, but it's not. It's a little blind spot over there. So if you do end up going in there and just having a quick look, don't get too much of a surprise. Just turn around, come back out, and follow the wall around to your right. And if you stay at the depth that you approximately came out of the cutting area, you'll follow the wall around and go back into it. And from there you continue back past the sharks if they're still there, through the cutting and into the inner bay. Once you reach the inner bay, usually it is shallow enough there that as you're swimming along and looking around, you're doing your safety stop. So if you wanted to, you could go around to the left a little bit and wander around, depending on how much air you've got, and circle back around till you come around to your exit point. And then once you've reached your exit point, you come out, and in front of you is your path there back to the stairs. The lovely thing that everybody likes to do after a nice relaxing dive is climb back up all them stairs. Thanks for watching this presentation from Dive Dive Dive. I hope it's been helpful for you about diving at Bushrangers Bay, Bass Point. Comments are welcome below, along with suggestions, but please be polite, as swearing etc. will be removed. Plus, don't forget to subscribe, or you may miss out on something good. Soon I will be adding some funny stories from my very early starting days of diving. They are from around the 1900s, and there will be some pictures from the book too. Good diving, everyone. See you topside next time, and remember, dive, dive, dive.